In this video, I'm going to share you 3 things that I do with my interviews that has substantially improved my odds of getting that job offer. I have been able to convert rejections into offer letters, and I'm going to share each one of these with you today. Now, I want to make one thing clear. You need to have the core technical skills or knowledge needed in order to clear any interview. That's a given fact, and there is no replacement for that than sheer hard work. The tips I'm giving you is for the final stage. Let's say that there are 5 candidates and each one of them has the same set of skill set. How can you outshine all the other 4, and how you can get that job offer that you are wanting for? That is what I'm going to be teaching you today. Typically, you go through 3 types of interviews: technical, system design, and behavioral. So let's first tackle the technical interview, which in my opinion is the most important because there are at least 4 or 5 iterations of technical interviews that you have to go through. Let's understand that how does most of the common companies handle technical interviews. They would probably provide you a Google Doc or some other document sharing mechanism, not an IDE. And that's where I found out a solution using this. Yes, my iPad with my Apple Pencil is a major combination that has given me a huge amount of edge compared to a lot of other interviews. Now let me give you a quick demo where first I will demonstrate how does a typical interview would go using only the Google Doc, and then I would explain that for the same interview how I can use my iPad and Apple Pen with the Google Doc to have much better visual explanation and how it is going to leave a lasting impact on the interviewer's mind. Now let's assume that this is the question we are being given in our typical interview. So first I will read the question that okay, I am trying to climb a staircase and it takes n steps to reach to the top. Now each time I have the option to either take 1 steps or 2 steps, and in how many distinct ways can you climb to the top? And okay, this is the classic climbing stairs problem, and we are given some examples that if we are given only 3 stairs, there are 3 distinct ways to reach to the top. If we are given just 1 stairs, there is only 1 distinct way to reach to the top. Okay, understanding this problem, the very first thing in my mind is going to be that I will clarify some edge case questions with my interviewer, uh, doing some back and forth. Okay, what if there is like null input? What if there is very large input? What are the bounds looks like? Okay, I went over all of that. What would be the next approach? I would try to take this and maybe try to see that if in case we are given the stairs with some higher number, maybe like let's say 5, how would that solution would pan out, and that would help me out build out my brute force solution and my optimized solution. So I can say okay, that for 5 steps I basically have a setup that looks like this, and for each one of them now I can start pointing out that what are the distinct ways I can reach at any one of the values. Okay, so for step 1 I only have one option. I can reach to 1 steps, and that would mean I would be able to reach to the top. For 2 stairs I have 2 options. I have one option of climbing 1 stair and then 1 stair, and for the second stair I have the option of climbing there's 2 stairs directly. So in total I have 2 distinct options to reach to the top. Okay, same way for stair number 3. Let's see the options. So once again the option is 1, then 1, and then 1. Okay, that's one option. Now for the second option, I have the option to either climb let's say 1 stair and then 2 stairs. Same way I have the option to climb let's say 2 stairs at the beginning and then 1 stair at the once. Okay, and then I don't have any more options. So that's how I have 3 steps in total. Now if I have to do this again and again, okay, for 4 step and for 5 step, I would need to keep on elaborating more on my explanation, and then I have to type more things. This is just one way to at least solve the problem. Okay, now what would be my next approach? Next I would try to build that what does a brute force solution looks like. For that also I would have to code a bunch of different things, explain that how does my solution is going to work. Then the next thing I would say that okay, what does the optimization looks like, and all in all I would be able to go through the whole solution and explanation in maybe like 10 to 15 minutes. That's a given fact, considering that I type down that for my brute force, okay, this is how I'm going to plan it out. For my optimization I'm going to be using dynamic programming. How dynamic programming utilization with this example of let's say n is equal to 5 or n is equal to 7, how that's going to pan out. But still it is going to take me much more time just because of the sheer nature of this Google Doc and the way I'm trying to communicate with my interviewer just by typing out bunch of different things on the Google Doc, and that takes time. That's a given fact. Now let me show you the same problem, that how I would be able to solve if I have my iPad ready, and how it is going to optimize or speed up things. Now we have the same problem, that if there are three stairs given, we can climb in three distinct ways. If there is one stair given, we can climb in one distinct ways. I can just visualize this problem, that let's say that if the given n is equal to 5, we can simply create like a 5 stair mechanism, and it would be much faster for us to explain that how does each one of these would work. So for stair number 1, we only have one option. For stair number 1, we have two options. In order to climb to stair number 3, we have one option like this, we have second option like this, and we have third option like this. Okay, so we currently have three options. Okay, for stair number 4, same way we have the options, in total 5 options, and so on and so forth. I can draw these 5 explanation, but along the same time I can also write down over here that notice that there has been a repetitive pattern, where for any particular value, if we are trying to calculate that what does the total possibility looks like, we only have two ways to climb. Because let's say that at any given stair position we are currently sitting over here, then we can only come to this place by either taking one step from here or taking two steps from here, because we already have all the possibilities for this value and all the possibilities for this value as well. So we can create a mathematical equation that, let's say, where this value is currently defined as, let's say, y, and this value is currently defined as x, then this value is currently defined as z. We can say that total ways to reach to z is going to be the sum of x plus y. And what is this x? X is the previous value, and x is the one value before the current value, and y is the previous value. So basically it's a mathematical formula that we have been able to derive, and we can use dynamic programming here to store the previously calculated results, and then we would be able to solve this question really easily. And if we improve on this, if we just simply use two variables like p1 and p2, where this stores the value of previous one and this stores the value of previous two, we can actually solve this problem even quicker. Now notice what just happened. I was able to take down this entire problem and go through the full solution by just talking about that what is going to be my approach, and because I was using this, I was able to quickly outshine my entire approach. Because remember, in the Google Doc approach, if I had to go through the same solution, it would have taken me somewhere between like 10 to 12 minutes, where with my iPad I can cut down that period from 12 minutes to maybe like 3 or 4 minutes and go over my whole explanation. And this was a very easy problem, so I was quickly able to go through it. But imagine if the problem is like a hard problem, where the much more explanation needs to be done, where you need to use graph and dynamic programming and this and that and combination of multiple things. How would that pan out? That's where, if I can save, let's say, around 8 to 10 minutes just on the explanation by using my iPad, it's going to give me a greater edge in my interview, because we only have 45 to 50 minutes to solve two technical questions. My interviewer is going to feel great because he or she knows that this person used a clever technique. We can go over a bunch of different scenarios. If he or she has some questions, they can directly ask, and I can just draw them that, hey, instead of this, we can use this. What if we are given null input? What if we are trying to deal with different permutations and combinations of different strings? This is how I would solve. And that is going to save me time, that is going to give a good effect on the interviewer's mind, that this person used something clever and I was able to solve it. Now the first question would come to your mind is, do I need to spend $500 on iPad and buying an Apple Pencil? No, there are better ways to do it for free. I use my iPad because I have been using it for my channel, and I had it lying around, and at one point it dawned on me that why am I just spending 10-15 minutes extra on Google Doc explanation when I could explain this much quicker. If you don't have means like this, you can maybe use Paint, you can use Lucid Spark, you can use Draw.io. There are 100 different applications out there, or you can use something as simple as just a regular Microsoft Paint and try to click around and draw a bunch of arrows using your mouse. It's not the best, it's not the most ideal, but it's a way to for you to explain your solution faster. And again, that's why I'm saying that this is a tip that not many people use, because they are more focused towards that what is my solution is going to be, what is my lead code problem, and then they spend all this time finding the solutions, which you should be doing. You should absolutely know these things. But if you are in that final three candidates, all three of you knows these things, how would they be able to differentiate between you? They want someone who can clearly solve problems quicker, faster, and be fun to work with. Because at the end of the day, working in any IT company or any technical team, the whole point is that multiple people are working together trying to come up with the solution of something. And if I'm interviewing someone and I see that that person has used something that makes my life easier, I'm going to keep it in my mind. And that's a very clever technique that I have gained a lot of benefits from. And trust me, I have been able to confirm this with one of the company that I work for, who had hired me and I was working for them. And later, when I was just having lunch with the my hiring manager at that time, who to whom I was reporting that why did you pick me over other candidates? He said, "Man, it was the iPad. The moment you pull it out and you started drawing solutions, it made things so much easier for me to comprehend instead of just walking around on virtual blocks and trying to understand what you're talking about while actually seeing something concrete results of it." So this is tip number one. Okay, now let's come on to the second solution. And the second solution is an extension of the first solution, but this is more from the point of view of system design. Many times I have given multiple system design interviews where I felt that there was only two heads talking with each other. There was not too many like solutions on paper or on chart or anything like that. And whenever that kind of situation happens, I would highly encourage you that on if that's going to be a virtual interview, have like a draw.io or lucid spark. These two are really good free to use softwares that are available. Have those open and you can quickly start drawing out the solution. That's option number one. You should definitely not have notes or your or things in your head because it will get out of hand. So have like a nice setup, explain, write down all the requirements, and then start talking about each one of them through your solution. You must have seen a lot of like system design videos on YouTube. They all try to do that, but you would be surprised to learn that in many actual interviews, usually they don't even care about having those solutions at hand. But if you had those, it's going to become much more organized. And by the end of the interview, the interviewer would be able to take like a snapshot of your solution and then maybe have in their memory or in their notes for further discussion. So it's going to look really good. Now, third thing comes up with the behavioral interviews. Now, the purpose of behavioral interviews is to understand about your stories, understand your scenarios, and try to learn that what kind of different things you've experienced in the past and how did you tackle them. We all have experienced multiple things, but many times we don't have those stories. And I used to struggle this with a lot, that whenever I was giving interviews, like I would say about 3 years back, I knew that I have worked on these things and I have faced these situations, but just because I was not prepared for it, it never occurred in my mind in an actual interview. And when I tried to speak out, maybe it took like 1 minute just to give the introduction before I actually reached to the solution or the situation, and that eat away a lot of time from my interview. So then what I started doing is whenever something happened at my work around that time, or even let's say if I'm driving somewhere and if something clicked that hey, this happened, then this happened, and because of that this happened, let me just note it down in small bullet points on my phone or something that I can review anytime before my interview. So have those 15-20 notes available on based on the things that you have experienced. That is going to quickly brush up your memory and help you with different things at different times. But this is just one part of it. Next part is whenever you are discussing or speaking with a hiring manager, and believe me, in many companies, hiring manager might interview for like 15-20 minutes or half an hour, or might not interview you at all if it's a very large organization because they don't have team matching available for them. But when you do get a chance to speak with the hiring manager, very clearly try to read the job description and then go to the hiring manager and explain that, in my opinion, I think that you need a person for to do these things. And if you think, and let me tell you why I would be the best person, because I have done these things. And if you can do that with the hiring manager, it's going to leave exceptional mark on hiring manager's point of view, because hiring manager now knows that this person clearly understands that what the role is, and also understand the how he or she is going to handle it. Let me give you a very clear example from my personal interview that I had recently. Last year I had second time interviewed with Microsoft, and in one of my discussions with the director for that team that I was being hired to, we were discussing and then we were talking about different things, and it wasn't a technical discussion, but it was a discussion to know me and know understand that whether I would be a good fit for the company or not, because he was the director, and I would be like reporting to his one of his underlings. So I told him that, hey, I think one of the biggest problems that with the candidate that you are trying to hire is this one of the biggest challenge in the existing role is going to be this point, and how I would be able to tackle it using this. I told him these 3 points, and I saw like an ear to ear smile on his face, and he told me that you don't know how exact your answer is, and there are people in my current team who are already working who still don't understand this. So it's been exceptional that you figured it out. And how did I figure it out? By speaking with all the other people who had interviewed me before I get a chance to speak with that director. And that's why I tell you that the 5 and 10 minute, that small advantages that you have in an interview, that you are able to save by using these techniques, apply them by asking questions that what does your daily routine looks like, what is the expectation of the team, what is the task you are having substantial problem with, what is your current project load looks like, how do you handle that, what do you think your team would be doing after 6 months, after 1 year. And once you start asking these questions, not to an HR or not to a recruiter, but to an actual people who is interviewing you and who are already working in the team, you get much different, much clearer example and much clearer idea about what the current situation is for the role that you are applying for. So do these things, and I can guarantee you that if you are in a situation where you are selected for an interview, you are going through the interview rounds, you already have the necessary technical skills that is needed, but you are one of the candidates who could get a job, I can definitely guarantee you that you would be the candidate who can get the job. And that difference is all it takes to find your dream job, dream career, dream compensation, or whatever. Because job market is brutal right now, and I hope that you are able to incorporate these things and maybe feel good about it. Okay, so till then, take care.